We're live.
I'd like to officially call this work session meeting of the Mayor and Council to order. At this time, I'd ask everyone to please rise for a moment of silent prayer and a reflection as we think of our military and our overseas personnel. Please salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please note the fire exits behind you in the main hallway, and to my right, your left, into the courtroom. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to advance notice of and attend any meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with this act, the Mayor and Council of the Borough of New Milford have caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the Borough Hall and the Borough website, and notices have been sent to the Record and the Ridgewood News. That's the new line. The mission of this governing body is to provide essential services to the establishment and implementation of public policy that will safeguard infrastructure, provide fair, honest, courteous, and professional services, establish a sense of trust and accomplishment between all residents, and through research and prudent planning seek to minimize risks while improving our services. We are sensitive to the needs and satisfaction of our taxpayers while realizing that this governing body cannot be all things to all people within the revenue constraints imposed by state mandates, economic conditions, and prevailing attitudes about taxation. At this time, I'd ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilwoman Samuelson.
Here.
Councilman Zahner. Councilwoman Duffy.
Here.
Councilman Grotsky.
Here.
Council President Seymour.
Here.
Councilwoman Graham.
Here.
Mayor Petrino.
Okay, I'm going to start off with a couple of proclamations. Office of the Mayor Proclamation, Shri Mataji Namala Devi Day. Whereas mental health and inner peace are essential foundations for a thriving, resilient, and compassionate community. And whereas Shri Mataji Namali Devi was born in Chhindwara, India in 1923, and from an early age demonstrated extraordinary wisdom, compassion, and spiritual depth that inspired all who encountered her. And whereas during India's struggle for independence, she worked in close association with Mahatma Gandhi, dedicating her life to the realization of his vision of universal peace, human dignity, and unity among nations. And whereas guided by her profound commitment to world peace, the advancement of women, and the attainment of self-realization, Shri Mahachi founded Sahaja Yoga, a worldwide meditation movement that promotes inner transformation, holistic well-being, and a heightened awareness of one's connection to a higher universal power. And whereas Shri Mataji Namala Devi has been twice nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize and has received numerous international honors in recognition of her humanitarian and spiritual contributions. And whereas the United Nations recognizes the benefits of meditation to reduce stress, improve health, foster harmony, and bring inner peace. Whereas friends, family, colleagues, and practitioners across the state of New Jersey, throughout the United States and around the world, gather on the 21st day of March 2026 to commemorate her remarkable legacy and celebrate her 103rd birth anniversary. And whereas the state of New Jersey acknowledges the importance of promoting wellness practices that enhance the quality of life for its residents and citizens in the state of New Jersey, and encourage all citizens, irrespective of their beliefs, to observe this day by engaging in meditation and wellness practices that promote peace, self-realization, and bring harmony within our communities. Now, therefore, I, Michael Petrino, Mayor of the Borough of New Milford, do hereby proclaim March 21st, 2026 as Shri Mataji Namala Devi Day in New Milford, and invite all residents, irrespective of their beliefs, to observe this day by engaging in meditation and wellness practices that promote peace, self-realization, and bring harmony within our community.
You need that.
Yes. Okay. Office of the Mayor Proclamation. Whereas Women's History Month was first observed in 1981 and is now recognized worldwide to celebrate women's achievement and empowerment. And whereas throughout our history, despite hardship, exclusion, and discrimination, women have strived and sacrificed for the equity and equality in communities across our country and have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation and our local communities in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. Whereas American women have played and continue to play a critical role in economic, cultural, social, and business environments in every sphere of life. And whereas American women have played a unique role throughout the history by providing the majority of the volunteer labor force. And whereas American women were particularly important in the establishment of early charitable, philanthropic, and cultural institutions. And whereas American women have always served to defend our freedom and our country courageously in the military, at home, and abroad. Whereas American women serve as police officers, firefighters, emergency medical technicians, and in all capacities that work to protect life, property, health, and safety of residents and communities across our nation. Whereas American women have been leaders not only in securing their own rights of suffrage and equal opportunity, but also have contributed significantly to all other major movements to create a more fair, equal, and just society for all. Whereas this Women's History Month, as we reflect on the achievements of American women across centuries and pay tribute to the pioneers who have paved the way, let us recommit to the fight to help realize the deeply American vision of a more equal society and carry forward a mission of ensuring our daughters have the same opportunities as our sons. Now therefore I, Michael J. Petrino, Mayor of the Borough of New Milford, hereby proclaim March 2026 Women's History Month and urge all residents and businesses to appropriately honor the significant contributions, achievements, and impact women have had and continue to make on our great country and our community. Okay. Is Women's History Month associated with a certain color? Does anyone know?
I don't think so.
Well, if someone would like to find that out, I will illuminate the gazebo for Women's History Month.
I don't know if you need this.
Okay. May I get a motion to appoint Matthew Arroyo to Fire Department Company Number 2?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Congratulations, Matthew. Thank you for coming aboard. And be safe. Under unfinished business, may I get a motion for the approval of the minutes for the February 9th, 2026 work session meeting?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We have a long list of ordinance adoptions tonight. So here we go. First one is 2026:01, and when the clerk has the opportunity, I'd ask her to please read the ordinance.
An ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of a financial agreement for payments in lieu of taxes pursuant to NJSA 40A:20-1 et sec. For the redevelopment of Block 501, Lots 9 and 10.
The purpose of this ordinance is to authorize the Borough of New Milford to execute a financial agreement between the Borough and 814 River Road Urban Renewal, LLC, for the payment in lieu of taxes on Block 501, Lots 9 and 10, as shown on the tax map of the Borough of New Milford, in connection with the redevelopment of said property for 160 residential units, including 32 low and moderate income affordable housing units, plus 12,500 square foot of retail space for a 30-year period from completion of the project. May I get a motion to open to the public for a public hearing on this ordinance?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ladies and gentlemen of the public, if anyone has any questions or comments on this ordinance, now is your opportunity. You can sit. You just say your name.
Oh, Harry Middle. Do I, is it doesn't now?
Yep. Hello, Carrie.
It's okay to read.
Is it about this ordinance?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's only about this
I'm
ordinance.
sorry.
At the end, I'm going to open up to the public for anything you want to talk about. Okay? Make a motion to close to the public.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Make it a motion to adopt this ordinance on its final reading.
Motion. Second.
Make it a roll call, please.
Councilman Sanhusen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky.
Yes.
Council President Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Reluctantly, yes.
I'm just going to stack them here for now, is that right? Yes. The next one up is 2026:02, and when the clerk has the opportunity, I'd ask her to please read the ordinance.
An ordinance amending Chapter 2 of the Revised General Ordinances of the Borough of New Milford, entitled Administration, to add Article 11, entitled Memorial Bench and Tree Dedication Program.
The purpose of this ordinance is to establish a program to provide New Milford residents, families, and community groups a way to honor their loved ones or celebrate milestones while contributing to the beautification of New Milford's parks and public spaces. May I get a motion to open to the public for a public hearing on this ordinance?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ladies and gentlemen of the public, if anyone has any questions or comments regarding this ordinance, now is the opportunity. Seeing that no member of the public wishes to comment at this time, I'd ask for a motion to close to the public.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? May I get a motion to adopt this ordinance on its final reading?
Motion. Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Samuelson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky.
Yes.
Council President Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
It's going to be a really good program.
I think it's terrific. I'm very excited about
I'm
that.
excited about it also.
And I'm sorry, Councilman Zellman isn't here.
Yes.
We worked on it.
Spearhead. Yeah, you guys spearheaded it.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. The next one is 2026:03. And when the clerk has the opportunity, I ask you to please read the ordinance.
An ordinance amending Chapter 7 of the Revised General Ordinances of the Borough of New Milford entitled Traffic to amend Section 7-10.1 entitled Left-Hand Turn Prohibitions.
The purpose of this ordinance is to prohibit left-hand turns from Newbridge Road onto River Road into and out of the driveway of 1150 River Road. 1150 River Road is the Delta gas station across from the funeral home. Make a motion to open to the public for a public hearing on this ordinance.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ladies and gentlemen of the public, if anyone has any questions or comments regarding this ordinance, this is your opportunity. Seeing no member of the public wishes to comment on this ordinance at this time, I ask for a motion to close to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? May I get a motion to adopt this ordinance on its final reading?
Motion. Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Samuelson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky.
Yes.
Council President Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
Okay, 2026:04. And the clerk has the opportunity to ask her to please read the ordinance.
Capital ordinance to appropriate the sum of $50,000 for the undertaking of the French Burying Ground Headstone Restoration Project in, by, and for the Borough of New Milford in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, and providing that such sum so appropriated shall be raised from a county grant and from the Open Space Trust Fund of the Borough.
The purpose of this ordinance is to appropriate $25,000 from the County of Bergen Open Space Recreation Floodplain Protection Farmland and Historic Preservation Grant and $25,000 from the Borough of New Milford's Open Space Trust Fund to undertake the restoration of headstones in the historic French Huguenot Cemetery. May I get a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Second.
Anyone from the public have any questions or comments on this ordinance? Okay. At this time, I ask for a motion to close to the public.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? May I get a motion to adopt this ordinance on its final reading?
Moved. Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Samuelson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky.
Yes.
Council President Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
Another good one.
Yes. Definitely.
Okay, 2026:05. When the clerk has the opportunity, ask her to please read the ordinance.
Bond ordinance to authorize the improvement of various roads in, by, and for the Borough of New Milford in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $425,000 to pay the cost thereof, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds.
Okay, and the roads are East Woodland Road from Boulevard to Pacific Street, Lumen Drive from Boulevard to East Woodland Road, Grieve Drive from Boulevard to Pleasant Drive, Ridge Street from Boulevard to Pleasant Drive from Ridge Street to East Woodland Road. And this will include roadway resurfacing, reconstruction, curb, sidewalk, and drainage improvements where necessary. All work materials and will be suitable, therefore, and it just says appropriations $425,000. May I get a motion to open to the public for a public hearing on this ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ladies and gentlemen of the public, if anyone has any questions or comments on this ordinance, now is the time. Seeing that no member of the public wishes to comment at this time, may I get a motion to close to the public?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? May I get a motion to adopt this ordinance on its final reading?
Motion.
Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Councilman Samuelson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky.
Yes.
Council President Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
Okay, 2026:06. Take it away.
Bond ordinance to authorize the improvement of various roads in, by, and for the Borough of New Milford in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $245,000 to pay the cost thereof, to appropriate a federal grant to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds.
The streets are Clinton Avenue from River Road to the dead end, Huguenot Drive the entire length, Arlington Road from River Lane to Wesley Lane, Yale Street the entire length. Resurfacing, reconstruction, curb, sidewalk, and drainage improvements were necessary, and this did get a $135,157 grant
From Community Development. And the prior one was from the DOT.
DOT. May I get a motion to open to the public for a public hearing on this ordinance?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ladies and gentlemen of the public, if anyone has any questions or comments, now is the opportunity. May I get a motion to close to the public?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? May I get a motion to adopt this ordinance on its final reading?
Motion.
Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Sanyusin.
Yes.
Councilwoman Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky.
Yes.
Council President Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
It's been a busy month.
Yeah.
This is a record.
Well, remember, the last meeting was snowed out, right? So,
Yeah.
okay. 2026:07.
Ready.
Go ahead.
Capital Ordinance of the Borough of New Milford in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, authorizing the acquisition and implementation of new finance and tax computer systems in, by, and for the borough, appropriating therefore the sum of $53,000, and providing that such sum so appropriated shall be raised from the Capital Improvement Fund of the borough.
Purpose of this ordinance is to appropriate $53,000 from the borough's capital improvement fund to acquire and implement a new tax and finance computer system. It doesn't say here, but it's because we have the most antiquated system right now. So, yes, yes. May I get a motion to open to the public for a public hearing on this ordinance?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ladies and gentlemen of the public, seeing that no one has any comments at this time, I would ask for a motion to close to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? May I get a motion to adopt this ordinance on its final reading?
Motion. Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Councilman Sanyusin.
Yes.
Councilwoman Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky.
Yes.
Council President Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
What is the name of the new system?
Edmonds.
Edmonds. There we go.
I hear about it every day.
I'm sure you do.
Sounds my phone was.
Okay, 2026:08.
Bond ordinance to authorize the replacement of sanitary sewer lines on portions of Pine Avenue and Hughes Road in, by, and for the Borough of New Milford in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $490,000 to pay the cost thereof, to appropriate a federal grant to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds.
Okay. The purpose of this ordinance is the replacement of sanitary sewer lines on Pine Avenue from Fulton Street past to the dead end and Hughes Road, from the dead end past the intersection with Voorhees Avenue, in, by, and for the borough. Said improvements shall include manhole improvements, roadway resurfacing, and all work materials necessary. The grant we received for this was $365,395, and that was from...
It was a
congressional...
no, that was the DCA.
It's federal, so
Yes.
Okay. May I get a motion to open to the public for a public hearing on this ordinance? All in favor?
Aye.
Ladies and gentlemen of the public, if anyone has any questions or comments on this ordinance? No? Okay. May I get a motion to close to the public?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I get a motion to adopt this ordinance on its final reading?
Motion.
Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Sanyusin.
Yes.
Councilwoman Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky.
Yes.
Council President Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
There will be a lot of work going on in New Milford.
Yes.
Last one. 2026:09.
Yes. An ordinance to amend the revised general ordinances of the Borough of New Milford entitled Salary, adopted as Ordinance 9101 and amended annually by ordinance up to and including 2025:5.
This is our yearly housekeeping.
Yes.
The purpose of this ordinance is to establish salary ranges for all full and part-time positions. Give me a number 1 to 10. 3. So an example would be 1, 2, 3. Deputy Borough Administrator, the range is 40,000 to 50,000. Randy, give me a number.
6.
Tax Collector / Treasurer, the range is 50,000 to 101,000. We'll do one more. Matt, give me a number. Oh.
Pick a different number.
Yeah.
Library Director, 50,000 to 120,000. Now that's just the range. So may I get a motion to open to the public for a public hearing on this ordinance?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I'm going to take that as a no. So may I get a motion to close to the public?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I get a motion to adopt this ordinance on its final reading?
So moved. Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Samuelson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky.
Yes.
Council President Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
And just for fun, the Clean Communities Coordinator, the range is $500 to $1,000.
What number is that?
That's like 27. Okay. We're going to move on to a couple of ordinance introductions. The first one being 2026:10, and I would ask the clerk to please read the ordinance.
An ordinance amending Chapter 10 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of New Milford entitled Building and Housing to add thereto Section 10-12, requirements for the issuance of certificates of occupancy.
Okay, the purpose of this ordinance is to ensure that all municipal fines levied against a property are paid prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy. May I get a motion to introduce this ordinance on its first reading?
Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilwoman Samuelson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky.
Yes.
Council President Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
This is something we should have had in place years ago.
Yes. The hearing is on March 23rd.
I'm sorry. Yep. The hearing for this ordinance, the public hearing, is March 23rd in the courtroom. Okay. The next one is 2026:11. You would please read the ordinance.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 8 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of New Milford entitled Parking and Parking Lots to add thereto Section 8.8, Parking of Electric Vehicles.
The purpose of this ordinance is to reserve parking at publicly accessible electric vehicle supply service equipment parking spaces for the parking and charging of electric vehicles only. May I get a motion to introduce this ordinance on its first reading?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I get a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilman Samuelson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky.
Yes.
Council President Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
The public hearing for this ordinance will be at the same date, our March 23rd meeting in the courtroom. Okay, 2026:12.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 10 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of New Milford entitled Building and Housing, thereby amending Section 10-1.3, Fees, regarding fees for lead-based paint inspection for residential rental dwellings.
The purpose of this ordinance is to establish fees for lead-based paint inspection for residential and rental dwellings pursuant to NJSA 52:27D-437.16.
So this is being required by the state.
The
Yes.
inspections are required by the state, yes.
May I get a motion to introduce this ordinance on its first reading?
So moved. Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Councilman Samuelson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky.
Yes.
Council President Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
The public hearing for this ordinance will be at our March 23rd meeting. Last one. 2026:13.
Yes. An ordinance amending Chapter 7 of the Revised General Ordinances of the Borough of New Milford entitled Traffic, thereby amending Section 7-3.6, parking prohibited certain hours for street cleaning and snow removal.
The purpose of this ordinance is to add a provision for the removal of vehicles on certain streets during certain hours for the purpose of snow removal. May I get a motion to introduce this ordinance on its first reading?
Motion.
May I get a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilwoman Sandhusen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky.
Yes.
Council President Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman.
Yes.
Public hearing for this ordinance will also be at our March 23rd meeting. Okay. We are done with ordinances for tonight. Okay, moving on to item number 1 is affordable housing, and my name's next to it. I just want to reiterate, I'm pretty sure everyone knows by now because of social media, that the organization that we are in, Local Leaders for Responsible Development, our emergency petition was denied by Supreme Court Justice Alito at the Supreme Court, so that is not going to happen. I've heard from the local leaders, and they are still regrouping to figure out what they're going to do next. One of the things they're talking about is actually starting a nonprofit organization to counteract fair share and to actually help and work with communities with similar issues. Don't know where that's going yet, but I will certainly keep everyone posted on that because that's it's exciting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but unfortunate, but
Shine the light of truth. Excellent.
justice and fairness.
The American way.
All right, Superman's gonna come running to the door.
Okay, here's the deal. Thank you.
Yeah. So, item number 2 is our budget update. Councilman Grotzky.
Thank you, Mayor. The Budget Committee continues to work diligently on the municipal budget. We're still waiting several outstanding figures and are scheduling follow-up meetings with department heads to identify additional cost-saving measures. Like many municipalities across the state, our borough is facing significant financial challenges, most notably escalating health insurance, utility and watershed, and wastewater treatment costs, coupled with reductions in federal and state aid program funding. We remain committed to delivering a fiscally responsible budget that protects public safety and essential services while preserving the borough's integrity and long-term financial stability. That's it at this time.
Well said. I just want to go back to number 1. John, was there anything you wanted to add to that since you've been in contact with our legal team?
As far as the lawsuit and the
Supreme Court thing, and
I mean, they really did everything possible to try to bring this to the attention of the court and get the court to give it what I would consider the appropriate deference that I think it deserves, considering the impact that it's having on the municipalities in New Jersey. The problem is that the courts just don't want to entertain it. They're just being very deferential to the legislature on this and saying that it's constitutional, so we're not gonna touch it, basically. And I think I, along with all the other lawyers that were monitoring this and sort of working on it from afar a little bit with Mike Collins, who was the lead attorney, then I was a little disappointed that the Supreme Court wouldn't take this up. I mean, it's a long shot always with the appellate courts, but I felt like that this is an issue of significant importance because New Jersey has a very unique setup with Mount Laurel. So, but it is what we sort of got what we got. Like, I mean, it's now time to go back to our legislators and see if they'll do something.
And this is the only state in the union that has these restrictions. It's ridiculous.
Why do you think the Supreme Court denied cert?
They didn't really give a detailed opinion, and as they don't have to really to do. It was, they consider it first individually, like Alito considers it like individually, Justice Alito, and then he renders his opinion, it just dies in its tracks there. My guess is that it's the same reason, Judge Critchie did at the district court level, which is that they didn't really want to deal with the nuts and bolts, I hate to say, because it's really a mess. And it's really a messy process. we're not going to get a lot of deference in New Jersey because this is a Supreme Court created concept. The legislature, I think, they tried to fix it, but as we've seen how it's played out, it's not really been the fix that they intended, I don't think.
If they did get the written decision, if we can get it forward to us, I'd like to put that on our website because I didn't receive it. We were told it was coming, but maybe what happened.
Let's see if I got it.
Yeah. Okay, schedule updates. Busy times coming again. Okay, on Friday, March 13th, is the Empty Bowls event, sponsored by the New Milford High School. It is from 5 to 8 p.m. at the New Milford High School cafeteria. Awesome. One of my favorites.
Yeah.
All proceeds go to the New Milford Food Pantry. Yes, they do a great job. The students do a great job building, and Mrs. Finizia, 5 to 8. Mrs. Finizia does a terrific job running it. And it gets bigger and bigger every year. Yeah, because on my fourth time back, the soups have run out. So I know more people are showing up. On Sunday, March 15th, is the annual Bergen County St. Patrick's Day Parade, sponsored by Bergen County and the municipality of Bergenfield. The flag raising is at 1 p.m. The parade starts at 2 p.m. It is on Washington Avenue in Bergenfield. And as I've mentioned before, Chief Brian Clancy was named the Grand Marshal. On Saturday, March 21st, is New Milford's free rabies clinic, sponsored by the New Milford Health Department. It will take place between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. at the New Milford DPW. Dogs and cats, and I have a note that says something about the borough website. Is that where you can get a license from the borough website, or can you get a license at this too?
You can get the license. I'm drawing a blank at the moment.
I think you can only get the license at the borough, but not at the event, right?
You used to be able to get both there. I don't know that you can get the license there anymore.
Okay.
But the form is on
the borough website. Right, there you go.
Website.
Okay.
And so is the flyer for the event.
On Saturday, March 28th, is New Milford High School Pancake Breakfast, sponsored by the New Milford High School Athletic Boosters. It'll be from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the New Milford High School cafeteria. Also on the 28th is the annual Easter egg hunt, sponsored by New Milford Recreation. It'll be at 10 a.m. at Knights Field, and there is no rain date for that. On Saturday, April 18th, is America's 250th Anniversary Kickoff, sponsored by the New Milford Rev 250 Committee, New Milford Historic Preservation Commission, New Milford Environmental Commission, New Milford Shade Tree. So the first event is America the Beautiful Litter Cleanup, and that will take place at 8:30 a.m. Everyone will meet at the Borough Hall gazebo. At 11 a.m. is the Liberty Tree Planting, also on the Borough Hall lawn. And at that event, people will also be able to sign up to get their tree seedlings for the Arbor Day celebration. So we're not going to have the seedlings in person this time. We're going to actually place an order and get them for anyone who wants them. So a lot going on the 18th. On Sunday, the 19th, is Bill Ervelino, sponsored by Friends of the New Milford Public Library and Friends of Oriel Public Library. It'll take place at 1 p.m. at the New Milford Public Library, and refreshments will be served.
And there will be a basket raffle that week from the 18th to the 25th, I think it is.
Not a raffle.
And some of the baskets are fabulous.
It's not really a raffle.
I'm sorry, I have the wrong word. It's a spring basket bonanza, not a raffle.
Spring basket bonanza.
Bonanza, yes. We have 10 fabulous baskets, and so I hope everybody will come and participate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the funds go to support needs of the library.
Excellent. Okay. Next is the administrative report.
Thank you, Mayor. This first item I brought up, I think, at our public meeting in January, and it is now in effect. Pursuant to New Jersey Public Law 2025, Chapter 72, the borough is transitioning the publication of all legal and public notices from the newspaper to the borough's official website, which is www.newmilfordnj.gov. And as of March 1st, the borough is required to make the complete text of all legal notices publicly accessible on its official website free of charge. Website publication supersedes newspaper publication. All notices must be available on the webpage for at least 1 week from the date of the initial posting. In addition, the borough is required to maintain an archive of all legal notices for at least 1 year after the notice was removed from the current legal notices webpage. So you'll notice on the homepage of the borough website, if you scroll down past the little buttons, there's a big note that says public notices. If you click on that, it brings you to our page, and all of the current ones are there. So tonight's adoption of the ordinances and introduction of the new ordinances, those notices will be posted on that page. Other things that we've already posted earlier in the year have already been moved to the archive page, which is easily accessible from that first page.
Right. And hence the change in the Open Public Meeting Act that I read.
Yes.
We had a borough website.
We met this week with Public Service to discuss the continuation of their gas main replacement project. This phase of the project covers over 5 miles of roadway on about 20 different streets, and it's set to begin in late April or early May. Additional information will be posted on the borough website, and individual notification will be made to all of the affected homeowners. So it's 2 parts. First is the replacement of the main, but then the more labor-intense, time-intense part is the connection to all the homes that it affects.
Now, is that something we could also put on the website so people could see the streets?
Yes.
Not exactly the dates, because it gets confusing when...
Yes.
Because I know they have changed. Remember, they were going to do one section first, and they swapped it.
Yeah.
So it's confusing. So if we could put that up there,
yes.
too.
Will there be traffic rerouting?
Oh, yes.
Can we, well, I have a request, because you said that people who are locally affected, like on those direct streets.
Well, the police department is very good about posting the electronic signs for differently affected, and we could talk to them about also posting the closure if there's any closures.
Using the Swift route, the 911, the text messaging. It would be
the text messaging is possible. We don't like to use the actual phone call, unless it's an emergency. But the texting and the email,
text messaging, I think would be really helpful for people, because not everyone.
Especially on the first, before the first day, because this will be ongoing, so it's not going to be a surprise.
It's just really helpful when you're driving around town to be able to plan ahead.
Yes, that's why I want to put it on the website as well. Maps.
Okay. And only other thing I have is that the next meeting of the Mayor and Council is a public session that's scheduled for March 23rd at 7 p.m.
Is there any questions for the administrator? Okay. Resolutions. Everyone has had a chance to look at them. Are there any that need to be pulled for further discussion and or vote? That's a no. Okay. Making a motion to open to the public for public comment about anything.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ms. Hiddles first.
Where should I stand?
Wherever. You could sit if you want.
Carrie.
Carrie.
Yeah, my name's Carrie. Do you mind if I read?
No.
Okay. Okay.
You have to memorize that whole thing.
Yeah, right? I'm not used to reading I'm a teacher, so I usually just talk. Important things to talk about tonight. Okay. Good evening, Mayor Petrino and New Milford Council. My name is Carrie Hiddle. I live on Windsor Road here in New Milford. I'm a lifelong resident and have been a homeowner and taxpayer here for 18 years. My family has a long history of service to this community. This is my first time speaking at a mayor and council meeting, and I'm coming to you with a sense of urgency regarding potential interactions we may have with Immigration and Customs Enforcement. I've been keeping a very close eye on ICE activity in northern New Jersey for several months now. We may not be at DEFCON 1 the way Minneapolis has been, but I suspect it is only a matter of time before we are, as there has been a significant uptick in disturbing ICE activity in our surrounding communities. After all, we are a blue sanctuary state, and it is obvious that those are the places being targeted. This is of great concern to me because, as we have all witnessed, ICE has made it abundantly clear that they have no intention of following the rule of law or granting due process to any individual as our Constitution mandates. This should alarm every American citizen, for the denial of rights to even one citizen is a threat to the rights of every one of us. And truthfully, even if we never reach the level of chaos and bloodshed Minneapolis has, many of us do not wish to live in a police state. I don't want even one of my neighbors to live in terror or have their family ripped apart or be thrown into a concentration camp or, God forbid, murdered. There seems to be some general confusion regarding the wording of the U.S. Constitution. I'd like to remind us all that the Constitution guarantees due process for all people in the United States. People, not citizens. Visiting the U.S., you have a right to due process. In the process of getting citizenship, you have a right to due process. Working temporarily in the United States, going to school as an international student, here from overseas receiving life-saving surgery or medical care, you have a right to due process. Here without documentation, yes, even you have a right to due process. And let's not forget that living in the U.S. without documentation is merely a misdemeanor. And for everyone up in arms about the criminal aliens running rampant on the streets, we have a system to determine if someone is a criminal or not. And that system is due process. Citizens by birth are being disappeared. Children, even infants, are being imprisoned in what appears to be literal concentration camps. Prisoners are being denied their medicine and proper medical care. People exercising their First Amendment rights to free speech are being labeled domestic terrorists. That would be me right now. People posing zero threat to ICE agents are being shot in cold blood in the streets. This is no longer America. We have let down and turned our backs on the rest of the world. We used to be respected, admired, and depended upon. But now our government is public enemy number one to both American citizens and countries around the world. Sadly, the highest echelons of our government are no longer protecting us. Therefore, we have to protect us. We have to keep each other safe. So what can we do? I'm sure you're aware municipalities all around New Jersey have been passing resolutions that limit the abilities of ICE agents to terrorize their communities with lawless abandon. I am not just asking, but expecting that we do the same. That means the Milford Police Department will not act in concert with or support ICE in their actions in town. It means ICE cannot enter sensitive areas such as schools, healthcare centers, churches, or courts. It means they cannot entrap people. It means they must have a properly filled out, signed judicial warrant to detain any individual or to enter non-public areas. These are just a few suggestions. Our surrounding municipalities have either drawn up resolutions already or are in the process of doing so, and there is no reason to not collaborate on the language being used in those resolutions. I have read some of them, and there are important points included that we should be looking at. For instance, we would want to protect our local facilities and tax money from being used by ICE. Our federal government may have taken many rights away from us, but we can reinstate them within the borders of our town. And perhaps some of these things are already policy, but it would behoove us to put it all in writing, so that there are no questions about how we operate here in New Milford, and in what ways ICE cannot. In this town, we are good people who care about and for each other. We don't feed each other to the wolves, and we definitely do not have the luxury of taking a seat at the back of the class hoping no one will notice us. Silence is complicity. While I realize things seem quiet now, I fear they will not stay that way, and I will not stand silently and watch my community be torn apart. I expect us to do right by our neighbors. I expect our governing body to protect and serve its residents. I expect to be prepared for this impending state of emergency, whether it visits us or not, just the way we prepare for hurricanes and floods. I implore you to pass a strong resolution that fortifies our community in New Milford from agents who intend to force a regime of hatred and fear. I will leave you with a quote I recently heard by Nadia Morsi, the director of Make the Road New Jersey. If the only way out is through, the only way through is together. Thank you for your time and taking this matter seriously.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Can we keep that?
Yeah.
Do you have another copy of that? Yeah, I'd like to keep that.
I would like us to actually consider this at some point, if not this evening at our next meeting. I think there's some very valid points in there, and I think it's important that we face reality and make a plan to deal with it. Just a statement.
That was just a statement?
That wasn't the motion at this point.
Right.
What I'd like to do is discuss it rather than make a motion.
Okay.
And I don't know that we can add it to the agenda tonight, but I'd like it on the agenda for next time.
I don't think tonight. I said I don't think tonight.
No, I said
right.
tonight. I said for our next meeting. I would like to discuss it.
Okay. Any other member of the public? Please state your name for the record.
Lori Barton. I came here to ask a question about something else totally, but after listening to Carrie, I have to make a couple of comments. Every day we seem to get closer to 1930s Germany in this country, and we can't afford to stand by and let others and wait for others to take the lead. We've all heard that poem, first they came for, and we're all familiar with the quote, if not us, then who, if not now, then when. It's been used by John Lewis, by Ronald Reagan. I can't improve on those words, but I feel strongly about them. It's call to action, and I think that what Carrie said, it's something I feel strongly about as well. So I hope you will keep those words in mind, and at your next meeting, I hope you do have a very vibrant discussion on this, because I feel strongly that we here in New Milford, we need to protect the constitutional rights of everybody, the way the Constitution says, not just legal residents, but to all people in the United States, reports to it. Now I'm going to ask my question. And it's a question that might need to be answered by our borough attorney, possibly. There's a lot of concern right now with the farm properties that are subject to that conservation easement. And at the time that was done, everybody said, they're going to remain farmland in perpetuity. And I hope that's true. But now that one of the properties is for sale, it's being advertised as possible future development pending town approval. And I'm thinking you probably wouldn't approve it. But my question is, if a developer purchases that property and they propose high-density residential units, and they say, we're going to do 20% affordable housing, does that then make that entire project inherently beneficial, and does it negate the conservation easement?
Well, I'm not an attorney, but I'm going to say that the easement is not held by the borough of New Milford. It's held by the county and the state.
Okay.
We don't have control whether it is enforced or changed. We are looking into that, but that's not on us. So that listing that says town approval, don't be confused. That's not us saying, no more easement. It's the farm. It's is it 6? What is it? I don't know the address off the top of my head.
Newbridge Farm.
So
But my question is,
when we did this, the point of it was to be farmland in perpetuity, forever.
Right.
That was the agreement between the original farm owners and the neighbor, and the whole thing we put together with Green Acres and the county and Bergen County. Right.
If it's Green Acres encumbered, is that what you're telling us?
Yes.
Predates me. So
Yes.
If they got Green Acres money, in order for them to undo it from Green Acres, they have to buy it back from the state, and it's at a multiplicative that is so prohibitive that unless the person that owns this farm is, Elon Musk or somebody of that ilk, they're not going to be able to afford it. I mean, it's like we had to do that. We had to do that. PSC&G had to buy. I mean, somebody like an entity like PSC&G, they had to buy property when I was the tax attorney in Teaneck that was Green Acres encumbered, and PSC&G paid the town either 10 or 15 to 1, whatever the value is. So it's really onerous to do that.
We also have to come up with.
And the town's not doing that.
I
don't want to speak for the council, but I would not be counseling them to
We also have to come up with other land
or you can buy it or you can exchange it. It doesn't have to be.
Okay.
You can buy it back because they'll buy something somewhere else with the Green Acres.
The other thing that makes it more complicated is that the easement runs through 2 properties.
Okay.
Those properties were co-joined to get that easement. So I don't know. Whoever is thinking of buying this should do their homework and talk to Green Acres.
I'm concerned with the idea that it seems as soon as it's inherently beneficial, all bets seem to be off, and I didn't want that to happen in this case.
That's a
don't
zoning,
know.
that's like
Yeah,
a planning
I don't know.
zoning standard, and whether it's inherently beneficial, I don't think that's going to apply to something that's been encumbered by green acres. Like, that's a wholly different issue.
Alright.
If it's parkland or farmland, like, to get it out of that status, that designation, that's a different process. So you don't get to just, like, go before and make an application saying, we want this removed. Like, they have to go to the state to do it.
Okay. All right, thank you.
So,
Greg. Yeah,
we're not
because
sure,
there's a
but
lot of
we're
concern,
confident that,
in town right now about that.
Oh, yeah. I would imagine.
The wording of the ad was,
Also not by us.
I understand that, people saw that, and with what's happened already with the ShopRite property and what's happening with the Brookchester property, like, here we go again, and they don't want it. So
Right.
I think this will be reassuring. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other comments from the public?
Yeah,
Just state your name.
Phil Sherman. I've lived in town for 10 years.
Bill Sherman?
Yeah. And I just want to second and third what Carrie and Lori said. Even more than just reaffirming what the laws are in writing, I'd love to see them enforced. Right? That means if we find ICE violating the law here, enforce it. If we find police violating the law, the sanctuary state law, enforce it. Specifically the masks. I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to just point guns at people and not identify yourself and wear a mask. So I'd like to see that law enforced. That's what I'm asking. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else? Make it a motion to close to the public. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. May I get a motion to adopt the resolutions 2026:88 to 2026:98?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be going to closed session. When we adjourn from closed, this governing body will take no action. So, thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Enjoy the snow melting. We can see curbs again.
Yes.
72 degrees tomorrow.
Yes.
Thank you.